In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we are live and we are back. Thank you so much, guys, for watching the August series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure producing it, directing it, and giving it to you guys. If you haven't watched it, please do check our previous episodes. It's 5 episodes, 1 to 5, and you have to watch it from 1 to 5 to make sense of each lady's story. But yeah, we're in a new month, new series, and we are looking at the journeys of entrepreneurs. And today I've got someone from back at home. Someone we call Spakurasakas. Kibebeji Messina.
Wow.
That must have sounded so random, but today I've got Tebogo Mulepo. I don't know if I introduced myself, but welcome to Voices of Opportunity with myself, Manda Mashego. And yes, I've got a big sister today.
Big sister.
big sister. Hi, Tebogo. How are you?
Hi, Amanda. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, and I'm so excited.
I'm also excited. I've been watching your work, following it, so I'm really, really excited to finally be here.
Yeah. As an icebreaker, I'm going to give you a word, and you're going to find a song that has that word in it.
Okay.
Diamond.
Diamonds by Rihanna.
Sing it.
Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a... My singing voice, it's not the one.
And then love.
Love. There's so many songs written about love. I can't believe none
not
of them.
coming.
Love. That is weird. Why can't I think of a song with love? Okay, Celine Dion. Love doesn't ask why. Okay, I was really young. I was about 10 years old.
I don't know the lyrics to this.
Yeah, Celine Dion.
Got it. Let's start with where you come from. So where does Tebogo come from? Where were you born, raised, and who was in the house that you were raised in?
All right, so I was born in actually, contrary to popular belief, I was not born in Musina. Both my parents are from Musina, but at the time that I was born, my parents lived in Joburg. So I was actually born in Joburg.
Wow.
In the West Rand, in a township called Kagiso.
Okay.
So that is where I was born, and I think I lived there for the first 2-3 years of my life. And then after that, my parents separated. Then I moved back home to go live with my maternal grandparents.
Okay.
And that is where I basically was raised. And I lived with, I think at the time that I needed to go home and live with my maternal grandmother, my mom was finishing off her studies. But then after she finished studying, then she also got a job at home. So yeah, I just come from a humble beginning, humble family with my grandmother, my mom, my aunt, and my aunt's children. So yeah, it was like a family of 3 females and kids.
Sure. And what's a childhood memory that has never left you?
I think for me, when I think about my childhood, the first memory of that time is my grandmother's love. Like my grandmother was always I think we all know how grandmothers are with their grandchildren. So I just remember being surrounded by a lot of love and encouragement and being told that I'm amazing, that I'm smart. So that for me is something that never leaves me about my childhood.
And how were you as a child, particularly academically? So which schools did you go to? What were you doing in those schools? Who was Tebogo the child?
Tebogo, the preschooler was a little menace. I don't want to lie to you. I particularly remember back in the day, it was safe. So we walked to preschool. I think only now when I drive, I'm like, oh my gosh, did I really walk this distance I must have been like 4 years old, walking from my grandmother's house to creche, which was easily about 5-6 kilometers away every day.
Sure.
So I do have memories of me walking to school, and then I would get somewhere and sit and wait for about 30 minutes, an hour. Obviously, at the time, I didn't know how much time I would wait there. And then I would get home and go back home and tell my grandmother that there's no school.
Now that's a menace.
Yeah. And then one day, while I was sitting at my hiding spot, my uncle passed. Like, my uncle was a manager at one of the supermarkets in the township. So he was driving to work and he saw me. He's like, what are you doing? And I tried the whole there's no school. And he was just like, okay, get in the car. Took me to creche. Obviously, we arrived there and the teachers are there and there's creche.
The program is going on.
Yeah, so that's just one of the memories that I have of my childhood. But also, from a young age, from when I was in creche, the same thing that people would say at home, the teachers at creche would always say, oh, you're so smart, but you're so naughty. I remember when, in creche you have sleeping time. So I never wanted to sleep.
Yes.
So every time we had to sleep, I would just sit there and not want to sleep until the teachers then took my mattress, put it aside. So every time it was sleeping time, all the other kids would sleep on the one side and I would have to be sleeping where the teachers are sitting. Because they knew that if they let me go to the other side with the other kids, I wasn't going to sleep. So yeah, I went to Sovetso creche in Musina. And then from there, at 5 years old, I went to Bunwa Udi. I did my grade 1. At that time, it was called Sub A. So grade 1 until standard 2, grade 4.
4, yes.
Yes. I did grade 4, and that was in 1994.
Wow.
At the dawn of democracy. So after 1994, obviously, that was like the first time that blacks were now allowed to go to the former Model C school. So when that happened, then in 95, my mom moved me from the township school to town. And I then had to repeat grade 4.
Okay.
Because of my age. I mean, at the time, they had the system, I don't know if that's still in place, where if you were born a certain year, then you had to be in a certain grade. So I had to repeat grade 4. And yeah, that was quite a challenging transition.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got lots of stories about that period of my life. I survived it. Then moved on to Eric Lowe.
But before that, this transition, you are coming from Bunwa Udi. It's predominantly Sepedi speaking school, ne? And now you're going to an English school. How's the transition to speaking English? Because when you are at Bunwa Udi, you're speaking Sgong or Sepedi at school and at home. Now you're going to have to speak English in the classroom. So that transition, or was it easier because maybe a lot more black people, you're like, oh, Luena, you are here?
No, it was actually very difficult because remember at that time, unlike now, you will literally find at most about 5 black kids, sometimes even less, in a class of about 25 kids, 22 kids. So I think for me, the cultural shock, that was the biggest thing. But when it came to English, I was quite comfortable.
Okay.
When I was in Bunwa Udi, I was like the star English student. So every time the school inspector would come, the principal will select a child in the lower primary and one in the senior primary. So I was always the one selected in the lower primary.
Yeah.
Then you would have to go there and speak to the inspector in English. Every time like a non-black person came to school,
Yeah.
they'll be like, Mulapo, come here. And then I would go and then she'll be like, yeah, talk to the inspector, greet the inspector. And I'll be there on some, good morning, sir, da, da, da. So I think that prepped me quite well for like I was very confident with speaking English. And when I arrived, I could easily converse. But obviously, then you're starting to learn new words, big words, different things. But yeah, for me, it was more just being in that close proximity to white people
Yeah.
was scary. But other than that,
Yeah.
the transition wasn't as bad.
And then you went to Ericlo.
Yeah.
And both, I suppose you didn't struggle academically when you transitioned to Messina Law School. And then similarly with Ericlo, you were still. And sports-wise or arts and culture, were you involved?
I was actually a very well-rounded kid, but also quite picky about the things I got involved in. So in primary school, I was very athletic. I mean, I remember there was a little vanity case that my mom used to keep at home, and all my medals were in there. At some point when I counted them, I think I had more than 20 medals. So I was quite sporty. So in primary school, I did athletics. And then when I got to high school, I played hockey. That
Oh,
was my
wow.
sport. Yeah.
Wow.
Were you a hockey player?
I wasn't. I always thought hockey was for white people.
I know. All the netball girls were so jealous of us. Yeah, so I played hockey. In high school, I think there was a shift. So in primary school, I was more into sports and not necessarily academics. But then when I got to high school, then I sort of switched where I realized now we're getting serious about life. Let's focus on the schoolwork, and then sports is like a by the way thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And at high school, now you're starting to focus on the academics. What future or what career are you looking to tap into at that point?
I think the beauty about how I was raised, from a young age, like I said that, everyone will say at school, people are like, oh, she's so smart. And then I'm getting the A's. At home, they're like, you're so smart. So I think from a very young age, I always believed in my capabilities, and I always knew that I can choose whatever career I wanted and I would excel in it. I think
Sure.
I had that confidence to say, girl, you want to be a doctor, you want to be whatever. However, I was never drawn to the traditional careers that everybody looked up to or they wanted to go into at the time. Your lawyers, your doctors, none of that.
Yeah.
What I knew is that I wanted to make money and lots of it. So when I was in grade 9, standard 7, I was part of the academic A team. And the mine at the time, because guys, things are so different now. You can walk into a university and find out what you want to study. There's things online that you can do research on to see what can I do. We didn't have that.
Sure.
So as part of being part of the academic A team, we were invited to a career day that the mine hosted. So imagine out of a school of however 100, because I think we had about 4 classes per grade, only 10 kids got that opportunity just because they happened to make it into the A team. So I went to a career day that was hosted by the mine. And I remember walking around the different stalls and just finding out about different careers. And I'll never forget this guy. His name was Shane Mitchell. So he was the lead metallurgist for De Beers at the time.
Sure.
So Shane Mitchell was actually the father of one of the boys who was a previous head boy at our primary school, and he was also in Ericlo. But a cool guy called Daniel Mitchell. So we all knew him. Oh, Daniel is cool. His dad is like they are rich at their house, etc. So I meet this man, and he's like, "I'm Shane Mitchell. Do you know my son Daniel?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And so he's like, "What do you want to be?" And I said to him, "I don't know. I think I can do anything that I want, but so far I really have no idea whether I want to go into law, whether I want to go into medicine." This man says to me, "Listen, young lady. Right now in South Africa, there's a drive to get women into engineering. So any engineering field, as a woman, this is the best time for you to go into it. And he said, and then if you choose to go into mining, then you are guaranteed a job, you are guaranteed lots of money. And I said, so if I become an engineer within the mining space,
Yeah.
will I be rich? And he said, yes. And I'm like, okay, what are you? What do you do? And he said, I'm a lead metallurgist. And he starts explaining to me. And I'm like, do you go underground? Because what we knew about mining was it's dangerous. People die underground. And I'm like, do you go underground? And he says, no, as a metallurgist, I manage the process. I don't get involved in the underground. And also we've got open cut. I'm like, okay, that is the day I decided I'm going to become a metallurgist.
Because
Yeah.
I'm going to be rich.
I'm going to be rich and I'm guaranteed a job. Because remember, he said there's this drive of getting women, especially black females, into engineering. So you will not struggle. You will not look
Yeah.
for a job. And yeah, that's how it happened.
And that's what you did. So where did you go study?
I studied at UJ. So like I said, I decided I wanted to be a metallurgist, did my research. And at the time I found out there were only 3 institutions in the country that offered metallurgy, being Wits University, the former Wits Tech, UJ, and I think it was University of TUT. Yes, that. But they did physical metallurgy. And remember, I was gunning for the money and mining. So, yeah, so I applied at Wits and UJ. I got a conditional acceptance at Wits with my grade 11 marks, and then also at UJ, and then at the end of matric, I didn't do so well in my physics.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a reason. We didn't have a teacher. So we can
What happened?
So while we were in matric, our science teacher, Mr. Mostert, applied for a job to be a principal. He was the deputy at Ericlo, so he applied for a job to be a principal at Musina High. Got the job and up and left.
He was a principal at Musina High.
Yes, he moved from Ericlo to go be a principal at Musina High.
I
I
didn't
can't
know
remember.
that.
I don't know if it was a principal or a teacher, but he
Yeah.
left. He left us. I
Wow.
think this was like mid-year or something. And so how we did it is we then had to join Afrikaans classes whenever they had their science. And remember, when you do Afrikaans first language, you also do whatever still stuff, whatever they call physics. So we would sit there and sort of try to listen to what they're saying, Shame. And the teachers really, really tried. They would also try to speak in English. And then what the school then did is they got the gentleman who did maths on SABC, Will Smith, he passed away, I think, last year. So they got those videos. And that's how we were taught science in matric. You'd go to class, watch William Smith on TV, and go and write an exam.
Oh, wow.
I remember for our prelims, I think one person passed in our class. But hey, we made it. Final exams, I passed, but it wasn't a decent mark. I think it was 40-something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, wow. So you go to UJ.
So yeah, so then I apply at Wits and UJ, and then I think Wits was always like a month, because I really, really wanted to go to Wits, but it was a month. Their registration was always a month after UJ, and
Okay.
I got a bursary, and so they sat me down and they're like, listen, everybody's going to register now. You either go and register at UJ, or if this comes and they say we haven't taken you, you lose the bursary. So the choice is up to you. So I was kind of like in a crunch where I needed to make a decision.
Yeah.
Knowing that I will forgo the opportunity to go there. But obviously that's what I did. I was like, listen, I'm not going to take a chance. I have to go to school. and I accepted UJ. A month later, Wits then comes back on some, oh, congratulations.
And you're like,
But I mean, they were going to put me on the 5-year program anyway because of my science marks. So it was just like, ah, whatever. By then I had textbooks. I had already started. So
Yeah.
yeah, I studied at UJ.
And how was your experience going back to Joburg since you were born there?
Ow, but I was just a baby when I left. Joburg it was different. I think coming from a small town where you know everybody. I think more than anything, like the same way I had the culture shock of moving from a township school to going to a predominantly white school. Now I am moving to a place where people are like there was just this energy where I remember for the first time somebody asked me, because I was like, oh, ke nna Tebogo Molepo, and no, I said I'm Tebogo, and he's like, Wakabani. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he says, no, like, sine itakazelo as, you know, as abantu. And then this guy, his name was Musa Mahlangu, and he tells me, I'm Musa Mahlangu, and then he goes on.
Yeah.
That was the first time in my life that I had ever experienced anything like that. And then obviously you then sit and you're like, hey, who am I? So my varsity, as much as it was about school, there was a lot of, you know, finding myself, my roots, who am I as a Black person, and especially because, you know, we went to former Model C schools where at the time when there was a lot of white people, and so the upbringing was very metropolitan, very white Afrikaner inspired. And then you come here and for the first time see people being Black and proud of being Black, and they can tell you about their history, their roots, where they come from, where their grandparents came from. So I went on a little journey of just trying to figure myself out, as because I wasn't, sometimes, you know, at the time you would feel like you're not too Black to be Black because you're lacking certain elements of Blackness. And then now you are here, and then when you're with the white people, you're not too white to be white. So you always sort of, and yeah, one of the biggest things for me that I got out of varsity was I went on a journey of self-discovery and just finding out about what it means to be a Black person.
Okay.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And I cut my hair. So I had always had relaxed hair my entire life, very long relaxed hair. And as part of that journey, I actually then was convinced that I needed to have something about me that said I'm Black and I'm proud. So I shaved my hair, and I've been natural since that's like 2004.
Wow. Before natural
Before it was
is today's
thing,
natural.
2004, I shaved my hair off. I'm like, okay, now I'm a Black female in South Africa.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And was it easy to get the job, or did you get a job from the...
Yes, so as part of the bursary agreement is that they take you to school, and then I think the commitment was 3 years of working. I mean, why would I complain? Like, yeah, of course I will work for you. Yeah, so it was it's very easy. You go to school, you finish, and then they place you in the workplace. So yeah.
So where were you placed?
I was placed in Kimberley.
Sure.
They wanted to place me in Musina, obviously.
So your bursa was DBS?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
So my bursa was DBS.
Okay.
I think that was the time when they were also like going out, and previously they had given a lot of bursaries through CareerWise to people outside of the communities where they operated. So now there was like a focused, we need to find people within the community that we can take to school. So the year that I got in, 2 or 3 other guys that were already in first year, they got a bursary. So when it was time to be placed, it makes sense for them to place me in Messina. You know, then I was gonna be the PR girl. We took her to school.
Look at her.
And they sold me the story of how, now you can go back and your community will be able to see, you know, how we took you from. I was like, Andes.
I'm not going back.
I'm like, I'm not going home. I'm not going to go work at home. And they literally were shocked and they said, why? Your family's there, etc. So I'm a very independent person, like from a very young age, even the whole deciding that I want to study metallurgy, applying for varsity, all of that I did on my own. I would literally just go to my mom and say, I need so much. I'm going to apply. This is what I'm going to do with the money. And my mom would just give me money for whatever it is I needed to do.
Yeah.
And I think later on in life, one day I sat down with my mom and I'm like, now that I look back, I realized that I had so much responsibility for myself.
Yes.
And you just sit there. Because, I mean, you get to varsity and parents are dropping off their kids. Parents are coming with their kids to registration. I'm like, listen, I was put on a bus alone. I came here and I was told you're going to go here and meet this person. I'm just like, where's my mom, And I've lost my train of thought. Oh, so when they wanted to place me at home, at that time, I had already decided the kind of growth I wanted in my career, but also in my life. And I had this belief that as long as I'm at home, I'll never grow up. I'll always be ngwana mama.
Sure.
If times get tough, I'll run home. If I need to do my laundry and I'm busy, I'll take it home. So I wanted to be somewhere alone where I can really learn how to adult without the support of my family. And I was like, I'm not going home. Send me to the furthest place from my hometown that you can. And yeah, at that time, the mine that was far was Kimberley. And that's how I ended up in Kimberley.
Sure. And how was your experience as a metallurgist before we come to where you are now? And why you left it?
Okay, as much as I wanted to move far from home, reality quickly struck when I think the first few months of me being in Kimberley was quite depressing for me. Like I wasn't coping, hey? I was happy that I'm far from anybody who knows me. But I think, starting a new job in a new province, I mean, you have the Northern Cape as well.
Yeah.
Guys, culture is a thing for me. Like acclimatizing to a new space and people, way of doing things. I mean, I remember at the time I had spent so many years trying to, be this black girl who is proud of her blackness. And I arrived and one of the things I was not doing was speaking Afrikaans because I spoke Afrikaans my entire primary school, high school. And I get to Kimberley and black people are greeting me in Afrikaans.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
word.
And then what's going on here?
Do you guys not know about your blackness?
So that was quite shocking for me, having to just understand people, how they do things. And then now you at work where you have to perform, but also you learning. Remember at the end of your school career, you sort of like at the top, your final year, you think you know everything. And then you get to the workplace, you're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of changes at the same time. And I went through a depression. When you get to the workplace, the company had a graduate training program, like very set with set timelines. And you would go do your thing, then go for a panel assessment. So you would go into a section, learn everything about that section, set up a panel, your bosses, the training heads, and everybody's there throwing questions at you. And then they sit and decide whether you know enough to move to the next section.
Okay.
And that's how you'd go through your training program until the end. And I remember the first few panel sessions, I failed. The training guy even once called me to his office and he's like, are you sure you can do this?
You're not inspiring any confidence, girl.
I passed with distinctions. What do you mean? And then at that time, my boss, who was the head of metallurgy, called me to his office and he's like, Tebogo. So he had, the training officer was there on some, are you sure you can do this? At the rate that you're going, you're never going to be done with your program. Like he was completely chopping me up into pieces. Yeah. And then my boss called me to his office and he's the one that gave me a different perspective. And he's like, Tebogo, you are here because you are smart. You got the bursary. You got the degree. You got the job. What is the problem now? Like, you just need to get through the training.
Yeah.
And so I explained to him that, I'm struggling. I feel like I'm not happy. And he's like, okay, I don't know if I want to do this. And he's like, okay, if you were not doing this, what would you be doing? And I was like, I'm not sure. And he's like, you know what? Do me a favor. I need you to go home. I'm going to give you a week. Sit down and think about what it is that you want. If you are saying this is not for you, figure out what it is that you want. And if you come back to me with an answer saying this is what I want, I will let you go and you will not owe the company anything. Because remember, somewhere in our conversations, obviously I don't remember the full details, but somewhere in our conversation, he's like, I said, I don't want to be here. I don't know. I'm not sure if this is for me. And he said, then what's stopping you from leaving? And I'm like, if I leave, the company's going to sue me because I owe them 3 years, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's when he said, no, go think about what it is that you want. And then come back to me. And if leaving is what you want to do, I will go and speak on your behalf and let them release you without any debt. I was like, okay, that week. Yo, there's nothing like, that scared me. I went back home. I sat and thought, and that's where I got the clarity to say, girl, I don't think this is for me. I had always known, there was something that happened while I was still in varsity where I was like, I don't think this is for me, but I'm like, I'm a finisher. I'll never quit a degree. I will finish it.
Sure.
And now I'm in the workplace and I'm still getting that same feeling that says, this might not be for me. But I'm like, oh my gosh, So I sat and I'm like, okay. Then I went back to him a week later. He came to me, actually. I was still not really, ducking and diving. And he's like, yeah, Mwanyan, what do you want? And then I'm like, I think I want to go into business. That's what I said to him. And he's like, okay, do you have a business plan? And I said no. And he threw a couple of questions at me. The long and short of it is he was trying to say to me, Tebogo, you don't have a plan. That's what he said. He's like, you know you don't want to be here. You're not even sure whether you do or not. And right now you don't have a plan. So for as long as you don't have a plan, you are going to be here. You will perform. So now he stopped being the nice boss. He was like, you are going to perform. You are going to go into a section and you will not repeat a panel. You will pass every panel. And by this time you will be done with it. Like he was literally, and that gave me the push. And it's like, when you are done with all of that, then you can decide what it is that you want, but you can't just sit here, mope around and say, I don't know if I want to be here. So, and I thank him for that because that was really the push that forced me to start focusing on my work, but also at the same time play around with the idea of one day pursuing business. And I started thinking about what sort of business would I want to pursue, where would I want to go. I started doing research and went through my training and finished.
And did you leave immediately thereafter or you continued working?
So as part of my journey, as part of that tough love that my boss gave me, I realized that if I needed to go out, I needed a plan. Because remember, he said, go and find out what it is that you want. And I realized that I want to be an entrepreneur. And then I started doing research. What are people doing? How is it, etc.? And I realized, it's not something that you can just jump into. You need to be prepared for it. And one of the things was, being, at least have money. Be financially ready for it because it is going to come with a lot of things. But so, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give myself 10 years in the industry.
Okay.
No matter what happens 10 years from now, it doesn't matter where I am. I'm going to leave and jump into it.
Sure.
So, I stayed there. I was saving money. I was giving my all at work. I actually had quite a beautiful career, if I can call it that. It was short, but a beautiful career nonetheless, because then I, got exposed to A lot of, I mean, by the time I left, I was never a production metallurgist. So I also decided what sort of metallurgist I wanted to be. I went into the quality assurance space. I went into, after that, then I went into business improvement. So by the time I left, I was not even like a pure metallurgist. I was more, this is a business that we are
Yeah.
running. These are the different departments. So as a business improvement manager, what you would do is go to a section head and say, what are the issues that you have in your department? What work do you need me to do to improve? So I was like playing a bit of a strategic role where you are helping people identify what's wrong in their sections and helping them improve. And I mean, that is business essentially. So it was
Okay.
a good preparation for.
As I'm listening to you to this date, I still don't know what a metallurgist does. And I know those that are watching are also like,
Google it.
actually, what is a metallurgist, a pure, as you had said, a
Okay.
pure metallurgist? What are they doing?
So a metallurgist is a process engineer. Most people know what a chemical engineer does. A chemical engineer can work as a metallurgist
Okay.
because we basically do process optimization and process improvement. So in any process, it could be anything. It could be manufacturing, it could be mining process. So a metallurgy is a specialization in the mining field. So you are a process engineer, but specifically educated and taught around mining processes to say,
Okay.
when we mine the ore, how do we extract it? So you are extracting the ore, and I get, when you have a process, you will have equipment that needs to be set up a certain way to protect that which you are trying to extract. So that entire process of getting a rock coming in to the plant and coming out as either diamond or gold or whatever coal, we manage that process. So you would
Okay.
be responsible for designing it to give you a certain output. And then once it's designed and it's running, you are then responsible for making sure that it's running optimally. There aren't any losses. We work with budgets in any sort of company setup where we like, you make your forecast based on what your process is going to do. So it's
Sure.
our job to ensure that the process operates in such a way that we actually, what we put in, we get out. I don't know if
Okay.
that makes sense, but
I think I get it. Process as in from the miners all the way to the to the finished product. You guys are running that particular thing. Step one, this is what we do. Step two, this is what we do, and making sure that it's cost effective and all of that.
partly. So the miners will be responsible for the mining process, which is the extraction of rocks either from the ground or wherever,
Yeah.
underground or open cast. So they would do the blasting and they manage the cost effectiveness of all of that and getting it to the surface. Then when it comes to the surface, the next processing step
Okay.
is the extraction of the actual mineral, whatever it is. Then the metallurgist takes over.
Okay.
So we then are the ones who say, you gave us rocks. At the end of this process, we are getting out diamonds. We are getting out the coal of the right grade for this and this and that, or
Okay.
what do you call that? Manganese, or yeah, all
Yes,
these
yes.
minerals. Yeah, so we would then be in charge of that
That
process.
particular, okay, which makes sense when Shane said, I don't really go to the mine.
Yeah, so I
I'm
mean,
not.
in my entire career, I probably went to an open cast twice just to see where blasting happens. And once when I visited an underground mine, I went underground, but also, because it was a diamond mine, it's not like your gold mines where the conditions are a bit, space is limited. In a diamond mine, you find a truck underground driving. So
Yes.
it's open. It's like the only difference is there's a roof above you, but there's space, you walk, you're not crawling anywhere and those kind of things. So
Okay.
yeah, he was right
He was-
about a lot of things.
And what's the first business venture you went into once you decided 10 years in industry, I'm now leaving? What's the next plan looking like?
So let me think about it. I remember every time I would think of a business venture, and at the time, with the limited knowledge that I had, you would always look into things that are close to you or things that other people are doing and they're doing successfully. But for some reason, every time I thought of something, I thought of, because I could have considered going into things like consulting, whatever. I was like, no, I don't want to take my background in metallurgy and go and work as a metallurgist. No, I was very clear about the fact that I wanted to do something completely different. So I would think about things like, I thought of, this is a long time ago, by the
Yeah.
way. So, but I just remember at some point I considered early childhood development.
Okay.
Yeah, I have quite a passion in education. Actually, I did an honors in technology management because at some point, so post my metallurgy degree, I did an honors in technology management because at some point I was like, I want to be a thought leader in the technology space, but in developing policies around education in innovation and technology education. I wanted to be part of the team that would sit and say, as South Africa, these are the models or the syllabus that we are going to develop to teach our kids.
Okay.
So education is quite a thing. I might still pursue that because
Yeah.
I'm still quite passionate about it. And then, so I was like, early childhood development. And I had this model of obviously having gone to a former Model C school, and you see the things in your immediate environment, and you start noticing the differences in how kids get taught, etc. And I'm like, how about you start a private school in the township? So that was
Sure.
a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll bring the good teachers and have all the resources, but this is gonna be in the township now and it's gonna be cheap and stuff like that. Got a bit further, I did research, got a bit far, and then when I realized that that is one of those projects that requires quite a lot of capital to take off and a lot of resources, even human resources. I was like, okay, I'm not ready for that. So that was one thing I considered. And then I considered, what else? I don't know. But
There was a lot before you.
I'm so into what I'm doing that everything else is out the window. Yeah.
And how did you come to what you are doing now? So you own a salon.
Yeah. Inside joke.
You will you
I will-
describe it the best way. You own a salon, Doodle Kids, and you focus on children's beauty. But I want you to explain it because it's an inside joke. She was like, it's not, I don't own a salon. I approached my sister and I said, Tendo, please talk to Tebogo Saloon. Are Tebogo Saloon. No, please. Sharp.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so you don't learn, do you?
I'm still like, it's a salon, but you know what? I want you to
Yes.
best describe it.
So I am the founder of Doodle Kids, which is a children's natural hair care brand.
Sure.
So we basically manufacture and retail our own plant-based natural hair care range for children. And we also provide hair care services for children aged between 1 and 12 through our salons.
Sure.
So that's what we do, Manda. We are a children's hair care brand.
Okay.
Because there's a product side of things and
then
the salon.
there's the service.
And the
Okay.
reason why I'm very quick to correct people, there's a perception around, beauty has done very well. Like skincare is a thing and people know what it's about, what it stands for. But there is the perception around hair and the salon is still very much sit under a tree, let me plait your hair.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we've worked so hard to formalize and professionalize the space And please let us have our
You own a child hair care
brand.
brand.
Yes.
I hope the editors can like do an insert of the Doodle Kids brand and maybe show your products as well, because you produce products, and then I guess the final product is the salon in which the brand operates
Yes.
through. Okay.
And we also, obviously, we sell the brand nationally online. Yeah, with plans to go international.
So why Doodle Kids?
Yo, I think Doodle Kids chose me. Well, not Doodle Kids specifically, but the whole hair thing. One thing I didn't mention is that I did mention that I had extremely long hair. So one day when I was in high school, Musina being very hot, I had my head down and I was watching TV and I'm like, my neck, I'm sweating. Let me just tie my hair. So I just put my hands up and I quickly do a thing. Then later on, when my mom comes home, she's like, who plaited your hair? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, no, Kibona Muriri, it's plaited. I'm like, no, I just tied it up. And she's like, no, it's a plait. So I do that mirror thing.
Yes,
when
yes.
we used to have the spielgas, I went to the spielgas and I realized that it was a proper French plait. I kept it for about a week. A week later, I undo it and I'm trying to redo it and my hands were stuck. You know, one of those, I think I did it unconsciously. And when I needed to do it again, I couldn't remember what I did.
Yeah.
And obviously it bothered me. So I started sitting and thinking, what did I do? And almost like in my mind, I'm like, no, you do this. I started remembering when you go to the salon, because I used to do my hair at a salon. And I'm sure that is where I probably saw how people plait without anyone teaching me. And that's why I was able to do that plait. So then I'm like, no, man, I started envisioning people at the salon plaiting, how they're doing it. And then I did it and did it, kept doing it until I was confident that now I know how to plait. And I started plaiting people like the mothers in our street.
Okay.
For money while I was still in high school. But my mom was just like, no child of mine is doing this. You're going to focus on your studies. You're not going to do. So sometimes I would secretly do it, but I would still plait my mom's hair though.
Okay.
And then eventually it's just like, let me leave it. Focused on school, went to varsity. When I was in varsity, I had a bursary, good money. So whenever I would need a little bit of extra cash, because you can never really have enough money, then I started plaiting people. So it was always just a thing. I don't think I ever really sat and said, I know how to plait. I would just be sitting with a person and randomly I would say, if you want to plait your hair, come to me. I'll plait you for so much. And people came. And then when people started being too many, I was like, let me stop this. This is not what I'm here for. So I was always very conscious about the fact that the hair was in the background, but focus.
Yeah.
Then I passed. And then after, in the last year of my work, I went to Gibbs to do a PDBA. We were put into syndicates and we needed to present a business model. Remember at that time, at the time that I went natural, there wasn't a lot of education around natural hair. There wasn't a lot of, I remember at that time, you could only find stuff on the net and only American content creators.
Yeah.
So you were consuming content and Africa everywhere. Yeah, one or two people here and there. So obviously at that time, I needed to do a lot of my own training, etc. So I'm like, this could be something that I could do, create content. Before content creation was a thing, I'm like, create my own little videos of how to manage hair, because I had been managing natural hair for years.
Yes.
And fine, I have my child in 2014, a girl. Then it was time for her when she turned 2 and she needed to do her hair. For some weird random reason that I still cannot explain, I Googled children's salon. I had never heard of a children's salon.
Yeah.
No one had ever told me about it. But when it was time for my daughter to start doing her hair, I'm like, I'll take it to a kiddie salon. I just assumed it's something that would be out there. I Google and there is nothing.
Whoa.
Only one salon came up and it was in Joburg. My child was not going to do her hair at a dodgy salon in Kroonstad. I was living and working in Kroonstad at the time. So every 2 weeks I would travel to Joburg to get my daughter's hair done. And we'd go, shout out to Mbali of Kiddies Corner. I would travel to Kiddies Corner to get my daughter's hair done. And then when you are there with other mothers, people are like, oh, I traveled from Kai, I traveled from here. And I'm like, how this is a thing, Mos. And that's when I started thinking, this could be a profitable business, you know?
Yeah.
So this is like my daughter was born in 2014. So this is happening in 2016 where now my daughter is...
Yeah.
I'm traveling to Joburg every 2 weeks. At the same time that I'm doing that, I'm applying to do my PDBA, also funded by my company. Oh, bless them. Like literally all of 3 degrees later, they paid for all of them.
Yeah.
So fine, 2017, I get into... so I'm traveling to Joburg every 2 weeks in 2016. 2017, I get into Gibbs for my PDBA. We get put into a syndicate and they say present a business. I had already started doing research on the kiddie salon model. And, I sat there, the perception and everything. I'm like, if I present this, so we're in a syndicate group and they're saying, come with ideas, guys. What are we going to present? People are saying whatever. And I want us to present a kiddie salon model. But I'm like, people will be like, no, you're a salon. It's too down there. At Gibbs, we're doing serious businesses here. So I keep quiet. We did whatever we did. I don't even remember what model or what business we went with. We're sitting on presentation day and 5 groups present a kiddie salon.
5.
5 groups present a kiddie salon, 4 or 5, but it was that shocking. As a business model, that's when I'm like, girl, you on the money. I was like, what? So people are there talking, blah, blah, blah. Differences. I'm sitting with my notepad because I've got my own notes, remember. I'm already working on my model. I'm like, it's going to be at a mall, drop off, where you drop off the kid, they're trying to make the business case on some, it's convenient for parents. You're going to the mall to shop. I'm like, no, we're not having a salon at a mall because who's going to drive from home, struggle to find parking? What about the parents who want to drop off their child?
Sure.
Those kind of things. So already I'm checking my own model against whatever the others had. Then after that, I went to a marketing lecturer and I told him, I showed him, I'm like, this is what I've had. This is what I've been working on. And after today's presentation, because that module was marketing. So this was for marketing. I'm like, no, I'm convinced I want to go all the way with this. So I actually worked with, I forgot his name, Michael Goldman. Very, very amazing marketing guy.
Yeah.
And he worked with me. Like I would email him to say, this is what I'm thinking. And he would say, check this, check that. So the first initial concept of Doodle Kids and how it was going to be structured and stuff, I worked on it while I was doing my PDBA, and I got the help from him.
Sure. And here you are, how many years later since actually opening it?
It took another 2 years. Yeah, because then I struggled to find a space. So I met Gibbs, and then that was 2017. While I'm at Gibbs, then literally overwhelmed, things are hectic, and that's when I'm like, I'm ready to jump. Actually, the move to go do my PDBA was because I had identified that I come from a technical background as an engineer. I'm very strong technically, but when it came to business and the commercial side of it, I needed something to sort of give me the confidence. And, education, you either learn through doing in the street or through school. And what I knew at the time was that education, if you want to educate yourself, you go to school. So
Yeah.
that is why I went to do my PDBA, to say I now need to learn about the business management side of things. As I was going through my PDBA, I was ready, made the jump, but unfortunately, that was in 2017. The first plan was we are going to find a location. It had to be in a certain area, blah, blah, blah. It took me 2 years. I
Sure.
ended up actually just saying yes to the first people who were willing to give me a shop, because when you're trying to find a store and you've never run a business, retailers are like, who are you? And
Sure.
is this concept proven? Show us who's doing it. And at the time, there weren't a lot, there were like about 3 major children's haircare brands.
Yeah.
Also still in the early stages, because I think the very first one was in 2015, and then 2016 2 or 3 started. So you couldn't really point, and you're like kiddie salon, and people are like, what is that?
Yeah.
As much as in the Caucasian space, there had been children's salons, but with black hair or
Yeah.
ethnic hair, it was a new thing. So people were not willing to take a chance on you. So the first person was like, okay, I'll give you a chance to try it out in my space. And if it's not working out in 6 months, you're out. I took it. I'm still there. Now
You're
I'm the
still
one
there.
who wants to move out. I'm like, I need to get out of this place. It's too small for me.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So to wind it down, I've got 3 questions. Worst business decision with Doodle Kids?
Like, you are putting salt in the wound.
As
Like, it's still healing.
What's the worst decision?
The worst decision that I took was doing too much too soon. Yeah, hey, business, it's so different from working, because I think with working, things have been tried and tested. There's always something to refer to. There's always someone's journey. As much as our journeys are different,
Yeah.
but there's always a reference point. But business,
You have a
guys, you're on your own. You're on your own journey. The circumstances that allowed someone to do something or that are favorable for one person might not be favorable for you. So I had this grand plan of, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna open a salon every year, and we're gonna manufacture our own product. Yes, we manufactured our own products. Instead of it being a 1-year process, it was like a 3-year process of testing and making sure this product is safe for use
Yeah.
and all of that. But with the salon space, I think I expanded too soon, and I quickly learned that the foundation was not as solid as it should have been.
Okay.
Because when I then needed to go to the next level, I realized this foundation is not strong enough to allow for the growth that is required. So I am currently right now in a space where I've gone back to the foundation, and we're saying, at least we are not restarting, we're just reinforcing to say, okay, if this is where I want to go, I skipped a few steps, let's fix it and then continue on the journey.
Okay. Best business decision for Doodle Kids?
Oh, me?
Love that.
Best business decision. Okay, so there's been a lot of great decisions that I've made, but I think right now I'm part of an entrepreneurship development program. So for 6 years, I ran the business on my own, relying on my own knowledge, my own experiences, sharing with other entrepreneurs. And, I got to a point where I felt that I've done all I can with what I know. Now I need external intervention
Sure.
to take things to the next level. So I applied for a program offered by the SAB Foundation, Tulwana Enterprise Program. 6,400 people all over South Africa applied for it, and Doodle Kids was one of the 65 companies who ultimately made it onto the 18-month program.
Okay.
So this program is coming at such a, like, at the right time. I just say to you now that I'm reinforcing. So just having the support that they provide for us, the guidance, the mentorship, because you get mentorship out of this, you get a little bit of funding, and it's really like I'm now running a company, and I have a board of directors that I can go to and say, this is what's happening, or they'll come to me and say, no, what about this? So
Okay.
as much as I've been running a business for 6 years, now I feel like I'm really running the business the way that it's supposed to be run.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm like, if I had this earlier on, or maybe at the time, if the business hadn't been through everything it's been through, I wouldn't appreciate this
Yeah.
experience the way that I'm appreciating it now. So I guess it's happening at a time that it's supposed to.
Yeah. And my final question is, where is Doodle Kids based?
We are based, currently we have 2 branches.
Okay.
One in Centurion, and the other one is in Pretoria East. And then we also, our natural haircare range, you can buy it at any of our 2 salons or online www.doodlekids.co.za.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming through. We've run out of time.
Oh, that was short.
It always feels short. It always does. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't take it lightly when people say yes to my invitation. It's not easy to come up on stage and share your story, but what we tend to forget is that our stories matter not only for us, but for those that are also watching. They can take a page out of your story and run with it for their own career journey. So thank you for creating a page that someone can come and take from. Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It was nice.
Yeah.
It wasn't as scary as I thought it would be.
Yeah. It never is. So sorry. And to the viewers and listeners at home, thank you so much for tuning in. See you guys next week with another entrepreneur. And please remember to leave a comment for us. Please do subscribe and share with anyone you think will benefit the most from this episode. Until next time, it is a bye.